Yo, what's going on, Fist Nation? Today I'm here to bring you the highly requested Iron Fist guide. This guide is going to show you everything from the basic mechanics up to the advanced strategies that I use. Now you may be inclined to ask why you should listen to my guide over some of the others that have already been posted. And to that, I'll say this. I have 126 hours on Iron Fist. Managed to get high elo by one-tricking Iron Fist completely. Not swapping no matter what, unless I absolutely had to. Alright, before the video starts, I just want to say a quick thank you to everyone who supported the first video, everyone who liked, commented, subscribed. It means the world to me, guys. You guys have shown me so much support. I'm truly grateful. On to the video. Alright, let's start with Iron Fist's core mechanics and abilities. We'll talk about his movement mechanics first, and then move on from there. Those mechanics include his triple jump and wall run. The triple jump lets you jump 3 times in the air, has a 1-second cooldown per jump that resets only when touching the ground or wall running. The wall running makes you move 50% faster and also enables quick vertical maneuverability. Alright, now that I taught you his built-in movement abilities, let's look at Iron Fist's basic attack and how to actually do damage. This is going to be a 5-punch combination, with the first 4 attacks each dealing consistent damage at 32 each. The final strike hits for 55 damage, has slight knockback. Now you may notice that the combination looks like 6 punches, but the second input is actually 2 quick strikes in one. Alright, next I'd like to cover Iron Fist's shift, his flying kick. This could be one of his primary mobility skills. It has a 12-second cooldown. Deals 2 counts of damage when it fully connects. I like to use it as both a finisher and an escape tool, depending on the situation. It also deals increasing damage based on the target's health, for a minimum of 65 and a maximum of 100. Maximum damage is only achieved when your opponent is below 50% health. Alright, next up, we're going to talk about Iron Fist's most important ability, in my opinion. This is his right click, called Dragon's Defense. This ability allows you to negate any ability or ultimate in the game and convert the damage you might have taken into a maximum of 150 bonus health. After you release this block, you're going to be able to use a separate attack called Yatje Tunkwen. I probably said that wrong, and I'm going to refer to this ability as Flurry of Punches for simplicity's sake. And I'm sure it's going to be easier for you guys to remember as well. Now, this attack is Iron Fist's strongest, and it's going to shred any target that's not getting healed within a few seconds. It's important to mention here, though, that number 1, every punch from your main attack is going to reduce your block cooldown by 1 second. Number 2, you do not want to double jump during your block, as it will cancel it. And number 3, you don't want to cancel your block early, so hold it down. Alrighty, the next ability we're covering is his E. This is going to be a self-heal. Lets Iron Fist meditate in place for up to 3 seconds. This ability also grants him an extra 50 bonus health, raising his maximum HP from 250 to 300 when used. Alrighty, next up, we're going to talk about Iron Fist's ultimate, called Living Chi. His ultimate is a transformation ultimate that enhances his abilities, and it gives him an enhanced version of his Flurry Punch that does extra damage and has extra range on it. During the 12-second duration of your ultimate, your block is reduced to 3-second cooldown, giving you massive sustain and stall potential during your ultimate for Iron Fist. Alright, one more quick thing to mention before we move on. It's going to be Iron Fist passive, called Chi Absorption. It just lets you get 50 bonus health after every kill or assist you get. It's pretty good at helping you chain engagements back to back and let you snowball. Alright, now part 2. We're going to talk about the basic strategy for Iron Fist. I made a to-do list to show the core gameplay loop, put simply. So, number 1, we're going to start with his meditation ability to gain that 50 extra bonus health. Number 2, we want to start flanking, preferably unseen, so as the enemy don't all turn back and shoot you. Number 3, you want to wait for your team to engage the enemies on the front line, so the same thing doesn't happen. They don't turn around and all look at you. Number 4, you want to initiate and land some punches if possible. Next, Number 5, you're going to want to block any incoming damage said target may apply to you. 6, once you release the block, you're going to unleash your flurry of punches on them. And then, number 8, you're going to kick back to safety. And number 9, rinse and repeat. I want to preface that if the opponents are down 2 players, usually you can start playing more aggressive and not just go for the single assassinations and start snowballing the fight. Alright, Fist Nation, this is where things are going to start to get exciting. Let's break down the advanced techniques that separate good Iron Fist players from the great Iron Fist players. So the first technique I want to show you guys is something that I created. I like to call it the one-shot combo. It's the closest thing you're going to get to a one-shot on Iron Fist. So this strategy basically lets you kill a 250 HP target in a very short amount of time. Here's how you execute it. First, you want to try to position yourself, preferably above the target in a very high position. This is because you're going to need to charge up your empowered hit. As I stated earlier, in the 5-hit combination that Iron Fist has as its basic ability, the 5th attack does an extra 23 damage and a slight knockback. So you want to be up in the air, you want to charge that up, and drop down on them, then hit them 2 more times after the empowered punch, hit them with your kick, they should be dead right away. I do want to note that this combination is usable for 275 targets like Luna and Mantis, but you have to get an extra hit in after. So instead of 2 hits after the empowered, it would be 3 hits. I know I stated earlier in the to-do list that you want to try to use your kick as an escape tool, but sometimes you want to break this rule, and I'm going to show you later in the video exactly when and where I would do this. And it's worth mentioning here that if you double jump midair without touching the ground, the state of your combination will save. So you can cover a little bit of distance while also charging your combination. Alright, next up, we're going to talk about a strategy I like to call dynamic blocking. You ever wonder how the top level Iron Fist players seem to always get their blocks off? This is how. Alright, first you're going to want to create a mental map of all the enemy positions before you dive. Track any key threats. For example, say you're going on the back line, there's a Luna, and then right behind her, there's a Punisher. That Punisher is going to be one of those key threats. You're going to dive on the Luna, and you're going to want to try to predict how long it will take that Punisher to react to you, and then turn around and block his attacks. This technique is especially useful for when you're using your ultimate, because the whole team is usually going to have their focus directed on you and shooting you. So if you can spin around and get as much block damage as you can, that is the best strategy. Alright, I want to say here that you're going to have to learn a lot of the reaction times of your opponents just by experience. And these reaction times are going to change too as your rank changes. For example, higher rank you go, the faster that Punisher is going to shoot you. The lower rank you are, the slower he's going to shoot you. Alright, this next tip is to always be wall running. This is a very simple one, but important. So what do I mean by always be wall running? Let's say you get killed early while trying to get a pick. When you respawn, I'm going to look for any opportunity to cling to a wall and run in a straight line or around curved corners. This is because his wall running speed is 50% faster than his normal walking speed, allowing you to get back to the battlefield much faster. Alright, this next tip goes along with the last one, and it's to use your wall run to reset your triple jump. This is very simple, but it helps tremendously in game. Let's take a look at this clip to show you exactly what I mean. Alright, so in this clip, we can see I'm trying to get behind them on first point, but the Psylocke appears from invisible, spots me. Try dueling it out, get some damage in, but I notice the whole team's looking at me right there, so I say, yep, time to get out. Then I cling to the wall as soon as I can, and I use that jump that I got to jump around the wall, get myself to safety without taking any damage, or any extra damage. This next tech is called the knockback punch and kick combo. This tech is pretty similar to the one-shot combo, where you want to first charge up your basic attack so that the next one will be your empowered one. Then, after you charge it up, use your kick, and as soon as you come out of your kick, you punch, and it will be your empowered punch. And you'll do double knockback to your opponent, allowing you to displace them. Alright, listen up. This next tech is probably one of the most useful, I would say, as, in my opinion, it improves his ultimate quite decently. As we all know, during Iron Fist ultimate, your block is going to be reduced to a 3-second cooldown. But what most people don't know is that if you block right before your ultimate ends, you'll get to keep the full bar of your flurry attack as you exit the ultimate, and you'll still have your block on a 3-second cooldown. This effectively lets you finish up any kills that you may not have been able to have the chance to confirm during your ultimate. You're almost certain to get a kill if your team is winning that fight. Alright, this technique is just going to be me showing you how to get the most use out of your kick. Basically, all you have to do is just kick towards the enemy that you're wanting to kill, and then look in their direction. So, for example, in this J3 clip from my last video, you can see me kick towards J as he exits to the Namor shift. And as I near the end of my kick, I look directly right as my kick ends, and both procs of damage hit him. Alright, I have one last small tip before we move on to the next section. And this is something that I personally do. You don't have to do it, but I think it helps. And that is that I count down my cooldown for my block whenever I'm going in to dive. So that means that, let's say I have 4 seconds left on my block when I go to dive. I count my punches I get on my opponent, and then I try to use my block as soon as possible, because in the high ranks, it's very necessary, so you can have the most uptime possible. Alright, this is something that I like to do a lot in my games, and it's spawn killing. It's pretty self-explanatory. You basically just want to be constantly looking at the scoreboard and looking at the kill feed to see if anyone gets picked off very early into the fight or very late into the fight. And if they meet one of those criteria, then that's usually when you want to go spawn kill. Preferably, you want the spawn kill to be a support. It can be a DPS, but supports just get more value. So, you've learned all the techs now, great. But when should you use the one-shot combo? When should you use the knockback punch and kick combo? That's what I'm going to explain here in this section. Firstly, I'm going to explain how you should recognize when the one-shot combo is viable. So, let's start with an example of when you should use the kick to secure the one-shot combo kill. Because your kick is your only escape tool that can cover ground very fast. This is why if you're going to use the kick to secure a kill, you must make sure there's either a room you could slip into, a pillar you can wall run up and behind, access to high ground, just some sort of cover that you can use your triple jumps and wall run to escape to and wait for your cooldowns. I'm going to use this first section of the Yggdrasil map, the convoy map in particular, to give a clear visual of what would be a good position to use and what would not be for the one-shot combo. Alright, let's take a look at this first image. As you can see, Luna and the Rocket are both directly next to the pillar. This would be a decent place to kill a Luna, as you can kick and then immediately jump up to the pillar and get the high ground and heal. But this could be risky if they had, say, an Iron Man that could go up there and just kill you, maybe a Psylocke that could dash to you. You just have to be wary of the enemy team's composition. Now I'm going to show you an example of when you would not want to use the kick. Now you see in the second image, the Rocket is in the open with nobody near him and nothing for cover. If you're lucky, you might be able to secure the Rocket kill with the kick if he's low already, but unless you have a Magneto bubble, you're probably going to die when his team all looks back at you. So, when should you use Iron Fist Ultimate? There's two main scenarios when I like to use my ultimate, and one of them is to bait out support ultimates, because a support is most likely always going to pop an ult if you pop yours, if they have it. Number two, if you can actually manage to bait out the support ult without using your ultimate, then you could probably wait till they're out of defensive ults and then use your ultimate to try to secure kills for your team. Alright, now let's talk about the use for the knockback punch and kick combo. This combo is pretty niche use case, but it's still useful to know when. So, you mainly want to use this to try and knock someone off the map, or to try and knock an enemy closer to your team if they're out of position. For example, say I'm on the back line and I see 4 people look at me instantly. There's a situation where I probably just want to kick back towards my team and get out, because I know if I stay there too long, I'm going to die. But as I look back to kick, I see the enemy tank low and near a corner that my team's holding. So I charge my punch if possible, and then I kick back towards him to knock him into my team while I distract his teammates. I'd like to talk shortly about playstyle adaptation now. I mentioned this briefly earlier, but I'm going to go into some more detail now. So what exactly do I mean by playstyle adaptation? When I say this, all I'm referring to is how you should change your playstyle and ability usage based on the rank you're at. For example, last season when I did an unranked to GM on Iron Fist, I was turning around and blocking too fast in the lower ranks because I was very used to the quick reaction times of my opponents. And I'd turn around and block too fast, get no block charge, and I would die almost, not instantly, but they would have the chance to kill me because I didn't have the damage reduction or the bonus health for my block. Alright, now I'm going to provide some advice for specific character matchups against Iron Fist. First off, I gotta talk about Rocket. This guy can be very slippery at times with the wall running. I could barely finish off good rockets before I figured out this trick. All you gotta do is to get the rocket down to around a third of his HP, right? And then you want to get your auto lock punch, and as you're moving towards him with that auto lock, you're going to want to shift and kick him, and you should hit the kick almost 100% of the time. Alright, so let's give you some tips for Mantis. The only thing you got to really worry about Mantis is their sleep. You're either going to want to try baiting the sleep out by going for a fake dive and then jumping backwards. Maybe do this once or twice and hope that she'll fall for it. Alright, let's talk about Luna. Luna's a bit easier to deal with than Mantis, because Mantis' sleep is quite easy to hit compared to Luna's Ice Ball. You either want to try to bait this Ice Ball out like you did with the Mantis by going in for a fake dive, or just trying to block it by reacting to the visual cue of the Ice Ball forming. I hope all you enjoyed the guide and found it informative. Sorry for the still frames near the end. I just want to be able to get this out as quickly as possible for you guys so I can get back to grinding. I just want to say a quick thank you again to all the people who watched and supported the first video and are here watching this current one. It means the world to me, guys. I hope to keep producing content for you in the future. I'm Wind, and I'm signing off.